State Film Festival back in Asbury Park, New Jersey, and Cranford, New Jersey. You can check out over 200 films this year from various different places, different stories, different mediums. You can check them all out, the list of that at gsff.org, as well as get any of those tickets. But today we are here talking about the short film called Incoming Call. Here to talk with us is the writer director of the film, Lisa Molinaro. Hello, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thank you so much for this conversation. I love it.
Oh, yes. I am super excited to talk to you. The film was beautiful, lots to talk about. Also, I got to shout out this bookshelf behind you. You have a great little setup right there. You look good. So, before we get into it, can you just tell everybody watching, a little bit about Incoming Call? What can they see at Garden State Film Festival?
Incoming call is, it's very much based on some experiences that I had as a working parent.
Mhm.
I feel like even when you like your job, if you have a job that's demanding and you have to travel for work, you just can run into this situation where you feel like you can't keep up with the job because you're getting the phone calls from home, from your kids, from your spouse, different things going on. And you're getting more and more frustrated the longer that you're away. You can't sleep. I thought it was just kind of my story,
Mhm.
or based something on my experience. But when I started showing the script to other people with the possibility of like, should I make this? I was surprised by how many people were like, oh yeah, that one hotel. Like a lot of people seem to be able to relate to it, which made me feel like, okay, I guess I have to make this film now,
Mm,
because I had been wanting to make a short film for a very long time. It took me
mm.
much longer than it should have to actually make a film. So, it was great to get that boost of confidence going into it that this was something worthwhile.
Mm. I relate to you so much when you say it took me a long time because I'm always writing and I have not made film. And I see this is your debut film. So this is the first time you've kind of like written and directed a piece.
Yes.
Amazing, and it inspired from the truth. And one of the things I loved about this film specifically, I know I'm not a mother. I am an auntie, so I could relate to like taking care of some kids. But it's relatable for anyone who's kind of, like stuck between two things and stressed and have to like deal with caretaking, or I just found it like relatable for anyone really. So amazing. So this when did this begin? You said you were showing the script around, people were like, you really should make it. When did you decide it was ready and get it up to its feet and like start production?
Truthfully, it all kind of happened from work. So I am a script supervisor. So I don't want to bore people with talking about the position, but it's a position on a film set. I'm one of the crew. I basically sit next to the director all day and watch what he's doing, and I have input on what he's doing. I watch continuity and coverage to make sure that we have enough footage, that we're getting everything that we need from a scene.
Hmm.
So I've been script supervising for a very long time. And I'd always wanted to direct. To be honest, and this sounds like sour grapes, but when I started off script supervising, there really were not women directors in
Mm,
TV like at all. So it didn't. You'd maybe have one every few years. So I wanted to direct, but I was primarily working in TV because in New York, that was the big market for a script supervisor. But I wasn't seeing a lot of women with that opportunity.
mm,
So I kind of started to think, well, maybe I won't be a director, or if I am, I'm going to have to make a film happen, like a whole film. No one's going to necessarily hire me to direct
mm,
a TV show, which was, like I said, primarily what I was working on. Um, but then it seemed something happened like around 2010 where the door just opened. And it was like, okay, women can direct now. So at that point in time, I had kids, and the idea of trying to make a jump from one department to another seemed kind of overwhelming, but it was still there. I still wanted to do it. So eventually, I ended up on an HBO show called Succession, which turned out to be one of those
what
experiences.
show is that? No.
Succession, yeah. So
Never heard of it.
it was one of those experiences where you kind of wait your whole life to work on something
Yeah.
like that, and it's like, you do the first season of a show, and that you're working on something that's really kind of great for a lot of different reasons. But you don't know that the audience is going to embrace it or that anybody's going to watch it, I mean, and it turned out that it was embraced and it was, critically lauded. But I was working with those people, and one of them, I have to give credit where it's due. The first one to say something to me, Tony Roche, one of the writers for the show, was just like, Lisa, have you ever directed? And I was like, oh, I want to. As a matter of fact, I do have this short film, because I'd written that short film on a long stint of being away from home. And I'm like, well, I do have this short film that would be relatively simple to produce because it's mainly one location. It's contained actor wise. I just need a good actor,
Mhm.
to really carry the story. And he was like, okay, let's make that happen. So, it became this thing that sort of took a life of its own, which I don't know that I would have done had I not, you know, get that encouragement from
Mm.
the people that I was working for. It ended up being, because that was the last season of Succession, it ended up being where the writers really wanted the short film to happen,
Mm.
because to them it felt like, in a weird way, the show lived on.
Mm.
So it became very, so then it was like, well, I guess I have to do it. So the Succession DP, Pat, was like, I want to shoot it. And I had Natalie, who I'd known for years from Succession, in mind, as being kind of perfect for the part. And she read it and responded to it. I was kind of surprised, by how much she responded to it, because I was just like, yeah, whatever. I don't know if it's any good. But then when she really seemed to want to do it, because she felt like it was an important story. So that really got the momentum going, because there was just so many people. I think if it had just been for me, and if I had just been left on my own, I don't know that I would have done it. But then it became, well, I'm going to let these people down if I don't do it, so I better do it.
Mm. Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's like so many things about that I love. And I think it's so important that like everything you do in life kind of takes you to the right place, the right time, the right people, and like it's all aligned. So that's really cool that incoming call got to be aligned for you. Talk to me about, like, you were directed this piece, and like you said, so much of it was involved of this like main actress. Yes, there's so many conversations going on, but it's like all Natalie Gold, who, like you said, is perfect for that part. What was it like like what was important when it came to you directing this piece, one location, really starring Natalie? What was important for you to show? How was this experience directing and coming?
I mean, honestly, it's like, I had pretty much my Succession team. So, and I hadn't directed before, but I've been on set forever. So it felt like a very natural progression. And I knew that I had this amazing team backing me up. Natalie related so much to the character and brought so much to the character that it's like I almost felt like my role was more of cheerleader.
Mm.
I kind of just, let's turn the camera on and let her rip. And that's basically what we did. And I would come in and I would say, why don't we try it like this? Because it's like there were certain things where she read the conversation a little bit differently than I read it.
Mhm.
And it made her a little uncomfortable to do it that way. Because there were times when it's like, you don't really want to talk to your kids right now. You're
Mhm.
busy. So I need you to actually, we want to see a hint of this where it's you are being patient, but like you don't really want to be, so it's sort of like getting the subtleties in of
Mhm.
that. And it was also like from a production standpoint, because being a producer was something that just terrified me. It was something that I didn't think that I really had in me, because it's kind of a high stress job that has a lot of variables, and I like set things.
Mhm.
um but I made it fairly easy for production with the one location. But then when you're getting into it to actually shoot it, you're like, wow, it's one location. This is really going to be boring. Like, how do I make this interesting? And
Mhm.
that's where Pat Capone, my DP, really came in and was like, we're going to do these different colors. We're going to experiment with these different, times of day and these different moods with the colors,
Mm.
so that everybody's gonna, even though it's one person in a room, we're gonna give some variation. And then I connected him with my gaffer, who's a longtime electrical, friend of mine who volunteered to do it. I connected the two of them, and then they were like, and I'd made a pitch deck, and one of the images from the pitch deck was a still from the movie Vertigo.
Mm.
And so they apparently, Joe, my gaffer, and Pat were very excited about this still from Vertigo. And they were like, yeah, we're going to do one of them is going to be the Vertigo scene, so when we did, that lighting that they liked from Vertigo, they were like very excited, they were very proud of themselves, and it looks amazing, and
Yeah.
it's one of like sort of the key moments in the film, and that's, they opted to do it that way,
Mm,
with that lighting, because they were really inspired by this still that I'd chosen from Vertigo. So it's very much a team effort,
yeah. Love
always.
that. Yeah, you're really giving your flowers to your team, and it sounds like you guys really collaborated to make this. Speaking of like the powerful shot, they were really excited for this Vertigo. I loved the like bathtub, and it really like, not to give anything away, but that kind of frames everything, and it says so much. What are some of the, like when you went over that shot list, is this a lot of the DP saying like, let's do this, or did you kind of collaborate with Pat, seeing these shots and getting the shot list?
I did a shot list for the entire film going into it, which then caused a complete panic attack, because it was like, in order to do the film the way I wanted to do, it was a lot more shots than I realized. So that's
Mhm.
the importance of doing a shot list. As a script supervisor, I barely look at them because they usually change. So I don't
Mm,
I don't see it as a Bible, but as a director, it really is important to do, because it gives you a picture of what your day is going to look like and how many shots you need. But I can't stress this enough, like to give a shout out to another team member, Alan Pierce, my camera operator. He was our operator on Succession. And, I made a decision that I was going to shoot this movie the way that we shot Succession. Sort of documentary style, kind of like very intimate and close to the actor, because this is an actor piece. This is all her story. I want to be in the room with her. And there was a
mm,
lot of talk about Succession, about the camera is sort of like another character in the scene. You're sort of seeing, the scene unfold like you're in the room with them as another character. So I really wanted that. So that's where Al Pierce just came in, because he was one of our operators on Succession, one of the best operators I've ever worked with, because these operators, they know how to tell a story with the camera. So again, it's kind of like, okay, Al, like let's do something. We'll start like here, and then let's see what you want to do with it. And it's
mm,
that amazing trust with Al and his artistry. And at one point, he said something to me like, I was like, thank you so much for doing this. And he said, thank you for writing something that was poignant. That was the word that he used.
mm.
And Al is kind of a stoic guy, so for him to say something like that again made me feel like, oh, okay, maybe I do have something here. Maybe it's not boring like a woman in a room alone.
Mm. Wow. Okay, so we're running on like the last 2 minutes. I want to ask you two more questions. Selfishly, the first one, let me throw in there. You've been in the business for like over 20 years, like you said. You're working on wonderful projects like Succession. You made this amazing film. What are like one or two pieces of advice that either you've heard or that you've learned throughout your career that has helped you, that you think can help others, even that you put on to you brought to Incoming Call?
The business is really predicated on adaptability. You can
Mm,
have your shot list, you can have your plan, but you need to be able to, when you go in the room, if your plan's not going to work that day, you need to adapt quickly.
mm,
And one way that you can really get to adapting is really study the script, study each scene individually. What's the point of this scene? What's the ultimate purpose of this scene? As
mm.
long as you know the story that you're trying to tell, then you will be able to be flexible. But you really have
Wow.
to start with the story. And, say you're a director and you've been given an assignment and a script you're not that excited about,
Mhm,
but you're getting paid, so you can do it. Find something in that story to get you excited about. If you have to kind of make up a backstory in your head to make it more exciting, so this scene is about this character trying to do this, and then do that. But find something in your script to love, find what the purpose of that scene is, and then keep that in your mind the whole time while
mm.
you're shooting that scene. It's just one scene at a time.
Yes, I love that so much. And like I'm grabbing onto those words as like a writer and an actress that could relate to anyone in any part of that business. Love that. Thank you so much, Lisa. So last question for you is what brought Incoming Call to Garden State Film Festival and how's it feel for it to screen here at the
This is
23rd
the
annual?
hometown festival. I'm a Monmouth County girl.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I grew up in Wall, New Jersey, and like I grew up listening to Bruce Springsteen and the Stone Pony. So like I had to be in the hometown festival.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. I love New Jersey filmmakers, and that is what an amazing success story for New Jersey once again. Lisa, it has been a true pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for your time and for all your like amazing wisdom. Let me tell everyone watching how you can see Incoming Call. It will be screening at the Berkeley Hotel in the Continental Room Sunday, March 30th. The film block is 3 p.m. to 4:45 p.m. Definitely go on gsff.org to get your tickets. You can get individual tickets to any screening, to Incoming Call, or you can get a weekend pass, a Parkway pass. It's all on that website. Definitely check it out. Thank you again, Lisa. Congratulations, and I hope to see you at the festival.
Thank you. Have a great
Bye.
day.
You too. Bye. Thanks.